Hello and welcome back to another episode of Discover with Sbenati. We are on episode 5. Today we have an extremely special guest. His name is Ray Proscia. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
And he comes to us all the way from Los Angeles, the city of angels. Without any further ado, Ray Proscia. Actually, you know what? I am going to introduce him a little bit. He is an amazing person. You'll find out a little bit more as to how I met him. And he acted in a lot of things, including, now I'm dating myself, but Seinfeld.
Yes.
True or not true?
Seinfeld.
And he never told me about it, but I looked it up.
Yep.
And he's Dr. Lipschitz in Suits. He acted in Imposter. He did one episode, you said, right?
No, I think for 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. He did a season.
2 seasons.
2 seasons.
I was the evil doctor that was out to hurt everyone, and they were trying to kill me for the entire series. That was me.
And that was an Imposter.
That was Imposters.
Right. And Suits, 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
3 seasons in Suits. And
The Man in the High Castle for 2 seasons.
That's right.
You will remember me.
And right now you're starting something new too.
Hopefully that I can't talk about.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh.
I cannot talk about it.
Okay, no problem. So, how did we meet?
You and I.
Yes. I want you to tell the story from your perspective, and then I'll tell it from my perspective, or I'll fill in.
We were actually on the same plane, coming back from. I was flying in to film the first episode of Suits for season 8, which was 2018, and I think you were coming back from a vacation.
That's right.
And we were sitting next to each other on the plane. And you kept having to get up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And the bathroom, every time you stood up, you couldn't see that the light said it was occupied. We were still on the ground. We hadn't taken off yet. And you kept trying to get into the bathroom, and I kept saying, okay, sure. And I was on the aisle, and you kept passing me. Yeah. And I think you kept thinking I was going to yell at you or say something.
Yes.
And I was just, we're all in this together.
Well, I'll tell you the thing is that because you were really well dressed. And yes, you have this presence with you, right? So I thought you were the CEO of this major company, and I was like, who's this guy that's sitting beside me?
That's right. Because you said to me, what do you do?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm like, he's way too nice to be a CEO. Let me find out. So what do you do?
And do you remember what you said when I said I was an actor? Do you remember what you said to me?
I said, no way.
You said, no way. Why?
Because you're too nice.
That's exactly what you said. Actors are not nice.
Actors are not nice?
That's what you said.
No.
You said you're too nice.
You're too nice in terms of, usually CEOs, because I thought you were a CEO. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no way, you can't be, in my mind, I was like, okay, he's not a CEO. I'm like, but you're an actor? I'm like, oh. So I kind of mixed the two together. I'm like, you're way too nice of a guy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Very nice. So, Ray, you've been in contact with me. We've been in contact with each other.
That's correct.
Since then. Do you remember the month?
It would have been either April or May of
You have a very good memory.
Only because it was, my calendar with Suits started in April.
Yes. It was the end of April.
Okay.
Yes, it was end of April. I actually went down to LA just by myself, just because I needed a break. So
a friend was supposed to go with you.
Wow.
Canceled at the last minute.
Wow, that's incredible.
And I don't remember his name.
That's right. What was his name? Should we expose him?
That's your life. It's not mine.
No, we won't expose him. Not for today. But yeah. So he couldn't make it. So I decided to go on just by myself, just for the break, and just take pictures and whatnot. And then we met.
Right.
Okay. So been in contact ever since. And then you on the plane, you made me laugh a lot.
I did?
Yeah, you remember because you told me about your accents.
Oh, about my accents.
Yes. And you have what, 14?
I do 14. I've been trained in 14 accents. 14? I do not fly by the seat of my pants.
Yes, but you did a really good job.
And I speak French and German.
And you speak French, German, English.
That's it. That's enough.
That's enough. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. Not Spanish?
No, because I'm never going to get cast as Spanish. Let's face facts.
Okay, but LA is full of...
yeah, but in LA, if they want someone who speaks Spanish, this ain't the face they're going to hire. Let's be honest.
And okay, so you grew up in New York City.
I grew up in New York City, in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Specifically, yeah.
So you were born in Brooklyn.
I was born in Brooklyn.
And then you studied film.
I studied acting.
Acting.
Yes.
You studied
at NYU.
And NYU. Under who?
I studied with Stella Adler.
Yes.
Uta Hagen,
Uh-huh.
and
Big names.
Lee Strasberg.
Yes.
Because of when I was born and the fact that I was born in New York City, I had the incredible opportunity to study with the greatest teachers in American theater history.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you give a lot of credit to them in terms of how you turned up?
One of them, I will give credit for teaching me how not to act, how not to do it.
Okay.
What
was the advice that you got?
Oh, just I watched this teacher and went, this is not what I want to do.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And the other two I thought were wonderful. I was introduced to my mentor by Uta Hagen. Her name is Alice Spivak. She's a brilliant acting coach, absolutely brilliant. And Uta Hagen said, you should go study with this woman. I think you'll get along with her. And I did, and I still am in touch with her, and she was amazing and still is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're still in touch with her till now?
Uh-huh.
That's insane.
When I'm back in New York, I will.
That's incredible. You know what? Actually, I'm not surprised because we met once, and we've been in touch since.
Yes, but you realize why I stayed in touch with you, because I follow you on social media, and I think you are hysterical.
Thank you.
I think you're nuts.
Thank you. What's so nuts about me?
4 o'clock in the morning? Really? What's so nuts about you?
What isn't nuts about me?
There you go.
Okay, so then you started then filming right after you graduated from.
Actually, when I graduated from.
Or sorry, acting. You started acting right after.
Well, I tried to.
Yeah.
But when I graduated from NYU, I didn't know that anything existed other than theater. So I basically grew up on stage. I did theater nonstop, and then. And I say this to people and they don't quite understand it. It was an accident. I got cast in a soap opera. It was a sheer accident. It was a fluke. And suddenly I was on a set with cameras around me, and I thought, what do I do with those things? And so I started learning by doing it.
On the spot?
On the spot. Yeah.
So what's the accident? Like you were just told go in this direction?
No. I got a phone call one day from a casting director who said, I'm calling to speak to Ray Proscia. And I said, speaking, who's this? And she said, I'm the casting director for the soap opera. I just took over from the old casting director. And I opened a drawer, and there was a piece of paper with your name and phone number on it that said, must call. So I'm calling. Who are you? And I said, well, I'm an actor. And she said, do I know you? And I said, no. She said, well, why don't you come on in and meet me? And that's the kind of opportunity that actors try to get.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why it was in the drawer. I mean, but I went in, I met her, and I got cast in the show. And I did a soap for 2 years. And then the business sort of changed.
Yeah.
And I lost my agent, and I stopped doing the soap. And I had been off stage for 2 years and realized how much I really liked being on TV. It's sort of the same but different. And so I decided to fly to LA and try LA, and I started working pretty much immediately when I got to LA.
Wow.
And I've been very lucky, knock on wood.
Yes. I mean, I'm not surprised. You have a very good personality, very charming.
Thanks.
So no, for real. So then tell me about Seinfeld. This is really interesting. So when did you start with? So you started first with Star Trek and then Seinfeld?
My first credit in LA would have been in the same month. I guess it would have been I think it was January of '96.
Okay.
23 years ago. In the same month, I did Third Rock from the Sun and Star Trek Voyager.
Okay.
And those were my two first primetime jobs.
Okay.
And from Third Rock from the Sun, they hired me on Seinfeld. So that was a couple of months later.
And you were what role on Seinfeld?
George was dating a girl who was in prison.
By the way, I'm a big fan of Seinfeld. Yeah.
He was dating a girl in prison, and I was basically her guard. And that was another weird thing, because I didn't audition for it. And I was at the gym one day, and I got home. It was a Sunday, and I got home, and there was a message from the casting director of Seinfeld saying, look, if you're free tomorrow and the rest of the week, I could use you. Can you do this? And I went, can I do it? Yes, I will be there.
Yes.
And I had met with them months before, right after Third Rock. But again, it was this really weird
That's amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, not to me.
No, come on. I'm sure it does.
I'm telling you right now, there's nothing I can say happened by luck in my entire life. Nothing. Everything that has happened to me has happened because of a consequence that I did.
Really?
Nothing. No one has ever called me out and be like, "Oh, why don't you?" Nothing.
You know what? I will bet
Yeah.
that if you go back through your life,
Yeah.
you will say, maybe not luck, good fortune or coincidence, where you decided, well, I'm supposed to go to this restaurant, and I'll go here, and then you met somebody or something happened.
I can't recall that.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not even just making it up.
Because we have cameras rolling and being nice.
By the way, we have editing power, so.
No.
So
you can't trust Sultan.
oh, Sultan's my man.
You can't trust him.
Sultan's my man. So
People with control issues never admit that luck exists. That's all I'm going to say.
really,
Yes.
for real?
Yes.
You think I have control issues?
4 a.m. It's all I've got to say is 4 a.m.
So how does 4 a.m. lead me to be a control person? Okay, let me preface that. I am a control
Yes.
person. But how does that lead you to think, okay, if he's 4 a.m., why is that? I mean, now he is labeled as a controlling person. Like, how did you put the two and two together?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't. The 4 a.m. in and of itself does not indicate that.
Okay.
What indicates it is when someone says, why do you get up at 4 a.m.?
Just because?
That's a control person.
Is it really?
You're going to control your day.
Is that a good or bad thing?
That's neither.
Oh, okay. Just that's who I am. Yeah.
You know, you reach a point in life.
Yeah.
It's one thing nice about getting old. When I was young, if someone walked in the room and gave me a dirty look, I would think, oh my God, what did I do? Are they judging me? And then you get older and they give you a dirty look and you think, well, the hell with you.
Yeah.
And then you reach a point in life where you don't care. It doesn't care you don't care what the rest of the world thinks about who you are, what you do.
Right.
You just are.
Right.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm getting there very fast. I'll tell you that right now. So, how is I want to get back to Seinfeld.
Yes. Okay.
How is Jerry Seinfeld? Like, because I'm sure you interacted with him.
What I have found, he's lovely, he's great. What I have found about most comedians in real life are sometimes they're the most serious people. And I found him to be, he's lovely, he's great, he's funny in real life. Yeah. But he's a businessman. It was his show, and it was the final season. And when I was filming, they were deciding if they wanted to come back for the next season. They weren't sure, and so they were all quite serious. So it wasn't a yuck kind of situation.
Right.
They were very nice, but
because what you see, like in the bloopers, you see them all like goofing around and laughing and stuff like that.
Well, when you're on set, even in dramas, when you look at the bloopers, there's such a relief every time someone screws up or you have a blooper or someone falls over. There's a certain relief because there's a lot of pressure to deliver, as we were discussing. There's a lot of pressure. I had to film a scene recently where it was very simple on the page. I was fine. I've been doing this a long time. And then I got up to do it in front of a couple of hundred extras and the entire cast of the show. And this was a different show from Suits, but I stood there in front of almost 300 people having to do this scene. Yeah. So that's a lot of pressure to do that.
Yes.
So when you're dealing with any TV show, whether it's a sitcom or a drama, that pressure's on, especially a sitcom has a live audience. Seinfeld had a live audience. So that's why when they crack each other up, it's truly funny. But when the cameras are down and you see them backstage, they tend to be very serious.
Okay.
As he did when I met him.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure. Especially since it's his show.
Very serious.
Yeah. So then from Seinfeld, then you progressed.
Well, when I moved to LA, I actually thought that I was going to have a career in sitcoms. I thought, and I did Third Rock, then I did Seinfeld, then I did another show called Jenny, which starred Jenny McCarthy. Oh, okay. And that was Bam 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 in a row. I did a show called Girlfriends, which was a sitcom. And I just thought, well, this is my niche. I tend to be funny. And
you do have a very good sense of humor.
I try to. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I wound up in dramas. And I never I thought of myself as sort of like being the neighbor next door. Yeah. And suddenly I became this kind of evil genius I'm being cast as, if you look at me on social media, I already sat down. I'm not the evil genius. I just play it a lot. Yeah. I'm not that smart.
You're very brilliant, actually. Yeah. A person with those three languages, they're hard languages. And then all these trained, verified accents.
Well, it's I just have that kind of brain. For example, I don't know how to turn on my iPhone. I don't know how, I look at it and think, what is that? An app? What is an app? But I can do languages. Technology, I'm terrible at.
Because it's not your thing.
It's not my thing.
It's not your thing.
Right. Yeah. So it's what I'm gifted with. But so my career turned into dramas.
Yeah. Okay. And you were picturing yourself doing what instead of drama?
I thought it would be sitcoms. In fact, to this day now, when my agent or my manager tries to get me in for a comedy, they say, well, he's not really funny. I'm like, yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'll show you who's not funny.
So you can't talk about your next role.
I can. Well, an actor never does till contracts are signed.
Okay, got you. And can we talk about Suits?
Sure.
And so how was your journey with Suits?
Suits has been a dream.
Okay, so before you continue, just need to let you know, I love Suits.
Okay.
I was binge watching Suits every single day. I used to come home from work at lunchtime, binge watch. For after work, binge watch. In the weekends, binge watch.
Really?
Yes. Like I was addicted to Suits.
So who's your favorite character?
Harvey.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Did you think otherwise?
Most people will tell me their favorite character is Lewis.
Oh, okay. No, for me, I saw my personality in Harvey Specter.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm sure like it happens to you too, that when you watch something and you like that character so much, you kind of start to think like them. So then I started to think like him, and then my friends just started to just out of nowhere, they're like, Harvey Specter.
No.
I swear. They're like, you remind me of? I'm like, who? They're like, Harvey Specter. Yeah, because at that point I was binge watching it so much.
Get out of here.
I swear, yeah. So I kind of took on, and then I stopped watching it, so now I'm back to me being me.
Were you walking around in beautiful suits?
No, I was just trying to be super smart and super clever and all that jazz, and very witty.
Well, you obviously have to be smart with what you do for a living.
Yeah, but I mean that personality is it's a different kind of personality.
Sharp, that kind of sharp.
Very sharp. Very, very sharp. And is he like that in real life?
Oops, sorry, I have to turn my phone off. I'm sorry, the phone was on because I was waiting for you guys to tell me you're here. There we go. I know how to turn it off.
There you go.
He is very different from his character.
Oh.
He's very smart.
Yeah.
But he's incredibly warm. Okay. I love Gabriel. Gabriel Maftu plays. I love him. He's funny, self-deprecating. He's smart. Really a nice guy. And that's not always the case in this business. A lot of times you work on a show or a film and the people are so focused that they may be pleasant. You never really know because they're so focused on their show and and there's a lot of pressure on the star of a show. But he is amazing and he makes sure that set is like a family. And my first day, it's not unusual to show up for a show as a guest performer that has been running for years, and you feel like a foster child. Okay. You walk in and...
Because you don't feel like you belong?
Yeah, and no one really... You sort of walk in and you have to find your way, and that was not the case with Suits. I walked in the very first day, and they embraced me, and I felt immediately like I was a member of a family.
That's amazing.
And that happens because of the stars of the show. So that's Gabriel and Sarah Rafferty, who plays Donna, and Rick Hoffman, who I adore, who plays Lewis. Right. They really make sure that it's family.
Yeah. Well, they seem like a good bunch.
They really are.
Yeah.
Nicest group.
And I've seen pictures with you and Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I noticed.
We're filming the finale right now. And, my manager, my agent, well, for social media, you have to do pictures, and I don't do them.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah.
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 What's the reason?
I have two. The first is that for me, there's something when you take a picture with somebody.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want to associate him with. Right. You're taking a picture with a star.
Right.
And so I see.
I want to take a picture with my friend.
I see.
But secondarily, I also I don't. The word souvenir comes from the French word to remember. And I've always, since I've been young, I've thought, if something's worth remembering, I remember it. So I don't have a lot of mementos. I don't carry I don't have a lot of pictures.
Right.
Literally, if you go to my home, my life and my history can probably go into a file box.
Okay.
I don't keep a lot of things.
Okay. And that is, I mean, you've been raised like that? Is that why? Like, did you move a lot when you were a kid? Is that why?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm that way.
Huh.
But I am. And, you know, when I walk into people's houses and they have piles of pictures and souvenirs, I just want to get a dumpster and start throwing things out the window.
Okay.
It drives me mad.
Okay.
That's me.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Too much. So then all my social media posts are like, stop it.
No, but you're doing it for a reason.
Yeah, I am doing it for a reason.
Now, my manager and my agent want me to do it for a reason,
Right.
but it's very different in show business.
Right.
Because at where I am, if I were 25 or 35,
Yeah.
I probably would be doing the pictures and the social media, but I'm not.
Okay.
And so when you...
But I mean, you're 45, so...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look like you're 45.
We'll say I'm 40. We're the same age.
We're the same age. I'm not 45.
I'm not saying how old I am. It's not second nature to me, and I'm really uncomfortable with it. In fact, this week, you know, it's the series finale, and everyone's doing pictures with each other. And I said to everybody, before I leave, I want to do a picture with everybody.
You said
and
that.
one by one, people would leave, and I'd be like, yeah, bye. And I watch them go, and I think, yeah, I should do a picture. Why? Why? So every time here's the other thing. Every time I look at it, I can feel sad. Oh, look at them, I worked them, it was really... No, I don't need to remember that. Move on.
Well, why not,
Talk about controlling.
Why not think to yourself, oh, every time I look at it, I feel happy? You know what I mean? Because it brings you good memories.
Now, why would I do that?
Sentiment.
I'm an actor, remember. Sentiment. Everyone who knows me will tell you that I was born without the gene to be sentimental.
Okay.
I don't have a sentimental bone in my body.
Oh.
Some will say that I was born without the gene to have fun.
Oh.
Which I will argue from time to time,
Yeah,
but
that's
other times I will agree with them.
Okay.
I tend to be very serious. I'm being very relaxed here, but I
Yes.
tend to be very serious.
Okay. Okay. Is that because you're the actor? Like you said, actors are
Well, think
usually
about
very
it. When you
serious.
met me, what'd you think I did?
I thought you were CEO.
Yeah,
Well, because your demeanor. But as soon as you said, "Oh yes, of course," and you moved your entire body, I was like, "This is not a CEO." Or if it's a CEO, it's a totally different level of a CEO.
Like one of the CEOs who has his people working like a playpen kind of thing.
Like one of the CEOs that everyone wants to work for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a CEO.
Yeah. Oh, you could definitely act like one.
Yes, and I often have.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor, CEO.
Yeah.
You were a doctor as well in Seinfeld?
No, I was George's girlfriend's escort guard. She was in prison, so she had to have a guard with her, so I was with her.
You were the bodyguard.
I was the bodyguard.
Oh.
Yeah, because in Hollywood, I don't think of myself as a big person.
Yeah, but you're tall.
I'm tall.
Yeah.
But in Hollywood, I'm a very big person physically.
Okay.
You know, most of the people I work with are substantially shorter than I am.
Okay.
By substantially, I mean, oh, you're going to get pissed off now. 5'10". How tall are you?
I'm 5'10" and 3/4. I own that 3/4.
See, so most of the people I work with, but you're like normal body.
Okay.
You're normal fit body.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about guys who, I'll go into a room to audition for a role and it's me, 6'2", 225 pounds.
Yeah.
And the guy next to me is 5'9" and 130 pounds. I'm not 150 pounds.
Okay.
They're these little waifs of men. So in Hollywood, I'm very large.
Huge. Yes.
And so that can be seen as imposing.
Right.
So I get a lot of those kind of imposing roles.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. That's cool.
Yeah. It's fine. It is fine. I like them.
That's super cool. So now that you've done so much acting, I want to ask you, do you regret not doing it and going to something else? Like, have you ever had a moment in your mind where you're like, I wish I didn't go into acting?
Constantly.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You wish you didn't go into acting
Right.
and you wish you'd done something else?
Correct.
What is that something else?
I think if I had to, well, first of all, I have had the opportunity in my life to leave acting. I've had opportunities come up by accident that
That seems to be a theme.
it seems to be my life. Accidents are a theme.
Yes,
Yeah.
good accidents.
It depends.
Okay.
But I've had the opportunity on three various times in my life where I could have jumped ship and said goodbye to acting, and gone into very lucrative careers.
Okay.
And each time I had to stop and think, if I do this, great. I'll find myself retiring at 65, probably having the beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills, and because these jobs paid a lot of money.
Okay.
Having the apartment in Manhattan and driving the car and you know, having the clothes and the pool, and I'll probably be the unhappiest person you've ever met because I'm an artist.
Right.
And artists, we can talk, but artists can't walk away from their art. Someone who just wants to act and be a movie star, I think, can walk away. But when I'm not doing it, I crave it. And so I will say, yes, I've thought about it, but I would never do it. And if I did have my life to live over again and didn't have access, perhaps if I hadn't been born in New York and I hadn't had access to those opportunities, I would have gone into hotel and restaurant management.
Ah, you know who studied that?
Who?
My dad.
And what did he do for a living?
Now he's a businessman. Actually, no. Now he used to be a businessman. Now he drives trucks for a living.
Really? What kind
Yeah.
of businessman?
Oh, he was a manager for JVC. Remember JVC?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So he was manager for JVC back when we were in Kuwait.
Yeah. Now, you were born in Kuwait.
I was born in Kuwait.
And your parents were both Kuwaiti.
No, they're both Syrian.
Well, explain that to me.
Yeah, so I was born in Kuwait, but they were born in Syria, migrated to Kuwait for the jobs.
Okay.
And then we left Kuwait, then came to North America when the war happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I am like most Americans, and shame on me. I may know a lot about American history and European history. I don't know a lot about Middle Eastern history.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of flavor, to say the least. But
I know the geography, but I don't know the history.
yeah, well, I mean, it's quite loaded. With a lot of wars.
Yeah.
A lot of troubles. But yeah, I mean, it was because of the Gulf War in 1990. When Saddam Hussein
Of course.
came, yeah. So that's what we had to flee from Kuwait,
right.
and we came to. Actually, first went to the U.S.
See, one of the things that because I've been flying back and forth to Toronto for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And Vancouver for 2 years before that.
Okay.
One of the things I would often ask people who emigrated to Canada is, what made you opt for Canada instead of the U.S.? So that would have been your parents' decision.
I asked my parents that question on a daily basis because I love the States. I really do. I just think it's full of life and full of opportunity.
Or something.
Yeah.
It's full of something.
Yeah, well, I love Canada, but I'm more of I like adventure, and I think there's a lot more adventure in the States than there is in Canada, I think. There's a lot more uncertainty in the States.
Oh, sure.
And there's a lot more things to do because you have a lot more leeway, whereas Canada, there's a lot more restrictions. It's like...
Really?
Yeah, you can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. If you want to do this, you have to apply to a million different things, or if you get like something to be approved, and then you can do it. Yeah.
Interesting, because I think that if I had the opportunity, I would move to Toronto tomorrow.
Okay.
I love Canada. I love Toronto. I love Vancouver, but
Yeah.
Toronto, as a New Yorker, Toronto just speaks to me.
Yeah.
I really love it
Well, it's
here.
very similar to New
Yeah,
York. Yeah.
yeah.
I love New York. It's fabulous. So when was the last time? Hold on. There's a question in my mind that needs to be answered.
Does it need to be?
Yes. You said 3 opportunities that came to you by luck, and they would have made you into this very wealthy person.
Well,
but not happy because you wouldn't be following the acting career.
Right.
What are they?
They were all in the field of food and beverage.
Ah, okay.
Because as an actor, quite often the easiest way to make a living, to pay your bills, is to work in a restaurant or bar. And because I'm a little crazy, a little controlling.
Oh, okay. Hence the relation.
It's very difficult for me to take a job and not be the manager in 3 weeks. It's been the history of my life. So I had a job in New York at a restaurant that I wound up owning. Yeah. No, it's weird. I wound up owning the restaurant.
Okay.
And I owned the
You
restaurant.
just you ended up owning it.
I ended up buying. Ended up, the people who had it didn't want it, and I was working there and I needed a job, and they sort of backing off, and I started taking over, and I was young, and next thing I knew, I was running the entire place, and they weren't there anymore, and they basically said, "You want it? Because we don't want it."
Okay.
And they gave it to me for virtually nothing.
Wow.
And I had it for about 8 years.
Wow.
And it was successful. I was thrilled with that, but in the long run, I was not happy. And so that's when I moved to California. I have no idea how the national health system works here. I wanted to ask you about that.
So there is basically no. How do you have it in the States? You have the Medicaid, is it?
Well, if you are over 65 or
Yeah.
you're disabled, you have Medicaid or Medicare.
Medicare.
So it's like that?
No, well, not really.
Okay.
So you have so if you have a certain income, like if you're like if you're not making a certain income, then you can apply to be on government assistance, and then that provides you some kind of coverage through the dental field, but it's very limited. It's extremely limited. So you can't do anything major. You have very little, let's say, cavities that you can get done.
So it is like the insurance in America, because insurance in America, even with a really good plan, there's a cap of usually like $3,000
for private insurance, right?
Private insurance.
Yeah.
So, and if you go over that, it's out of your pocket, and it'll cover half crowns. Interesting. There's a thing called a half crown.
It's like an onlay, yeah.
Okay, an onlay.
Yeah.
In California, onlays are not covered by insurance, but crowns are.
Yeah.
Other states won't cover crowns, but they cover onlays.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
Because a friend of mine in North Carolina, we were discussing, I had to get an onlay, so did he.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Thank God, because mine's covered." I went, "What?"
Yeah, so onlays save teeth because they save your tooth.
Correct.
Yeah, they save your
correct.
tooth structure. You don't have to cut the entire tooth.
But when it comes to the health system for non-dental medicine, is that complete?
Oh yeah, so we have something called OHIP.
Okay.
Okay, so in Ontario there's OHIP. I'm not too sure of the rest of Canada, but pretty sure they have the same system. And yeah, it's full medical coverage. Yeah, but I mean, I think if you're doing elective surgery, then yeah, you pay out of pocket.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, it's covered. Yeah. In terms of the health system, I think it's a lot better than the States. Yeah.
Okay. Now, no dairy, no
Cry.
What's that all about?
So No Dairy, No Cry is my sister's. Basically, it's her venture, and she decided to start it because her son has severe allergies.
Okay.
And so he's allergic to anything related to cows or milk or anything like that. Anything related to beef.
Really?
That comes from the cow. Anything from the cow, he's allergic to. He's also allergic to other things as well. So, and then her daughter is also allergic to like cashews and like eggs and so on and so forth. So she had to basically come up with something in order for her to raise her kids normally, without giving them so much medication. So she came up with No Dairy, No Cry. And the reason why she called it No Dairy, No Cry is from Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry.
Okay.
And so she decided to call it No Dairy, No Cry. And now she does amazing work with. Have you checked out her Instagram?
I have.
Yeah. So
but I didn't know where it started.
she does amazing work. Like her food is on top notch.
Some of it looks amazing.
Yes, it tastes even better.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would it be considered vegan?
No, because she still cooks meat. So she still cooks chicken.
No, her desserts.
Oh, her desserts, are they vegan?
Vegan.
Because there's no eggs.
No eggs, there's
No
dairy.
milk. Yeah,
No animal products.
Yeah, you're right. I was supposed to, yes.
I could use a vegan cake next week. A friend for a vegan wedding, and she can't find a baker in New York that she likes.
Oh, maybe she can call No Dairy, No Cry.
We'll get it done in a week. And were there other questions? Not that I can think of right now.
Okay, so when we were on the plane, you were you're showing off all your accents.
My accents. Not showing off my accents.
You were.
I was doing my dog and pony show.
Yes. Very impressive. So, can you do some?
Sure.
Okay, so let's say, what accents can you do again? Oh, you can do Australian. Okay, can you start there? Australian. So you can start with.
You didn't want to jump in.
So you start with saying, "Hello, friend." Obviously, you're not gonna say friend. Hello, friend. Let us go this afternoon. to
Oh, that is so Middle Eastern. What you're saying?
to the barbecue. There you go.
It's not as easy as that with Australian. It's the hard one. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Let's go to the barbecue.
That's perfect.
Yeah. There's a comedian named Carolyn Ray who talks about how funny it is because the Australians, because of the accent, everything sounds fine. So she says she can only imagine when the end of the world is coming that the Prime Minister is going to walk in and say, "All right, everybody, we're going to war. We're all going to die." And that's Carolyn Ray's joke, and it's brilliant. Yes.
So you nailed that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did. Okay, which other ones do you know?
I do German, French, Russian, Italian, Irish, a standard Scandinavian, Australian, New York Jewish, New York Italian, Southern, Texan, and there's one missing. Did I say French?
Yes.
Okay, there's one missing.
Okay. Okay, so
of course I work mostly with the German accent, because I look so German and I speak German, so that is not a problem for people. Or for me, it's easy. Actually, but if I was to do my full German for you, it would sound like this. And this is sort of, I could come from Berlin right now if I was doing this. Austrian goes down here if I was doing Austrian. It would be, yeah, hello, I'm here to talk to you. But they don't want this in television. So if I go into a meeting or an audition and I talk to them like this, the first thing they do is, you have to cut it in half. So I have come up with the Lipschitz accent, which is what I use on suits. So I have this subtext that every accent I do, whether I grew up in France or Germany or Italy, that I went to Eton and Cambridge. So I go from my full German accent, which would be this, to Lipschitz, who talks like this.
I noticed that.
He uses the Middle Age. So he says, "I can't believe you're saying these things to me, Louis."
I noticed that.
It's this marriage of British and
Yes, I noticed that. Yes, I did notice that.
Yeah, and the most fun accent for me is Russian. He's so lazy, they just talk. They don't care what people think about what they say. I open my mouth, I don't open my mouth to care. Right? They don't care, I don't care, we don't care. The Russia. That's my favorite, because it's just so easy. German and French happen to be very tight, British is tight, but the Russians, they just sit back. And actually, I think that they're a family of accents. And believe it or not, to me, Russian and Italian are in the same family. For example, I could do Russian with you. I'm doing Russian, and then all of a sudden it becomes Italian. We can talk like we're in Roma, yeah? Or I can go back to Russian. There's sort of like just a slight musical difference. And it's the same with German and French. They share a border. So you have the German, I have to get into that. You have the Germans who talk like this, it's not that different from the French. You go easy across the border. They have certain sounds like this sound. It's your birthday in France.
Oui.
It's your birthday. In German would be it's your
birthday.
It's your birthday in French. If I was doing German, it would be your birthday. It's very related.
Oui.
And then of course Irish and English and Australian are related. They're not too far from Scandinavian.
So do British? Can you do different accents in English? I
can do a very standard sort of royal accent, like you would hear from the King of England. It's very proper, very tight, very, very, very clipped, very standard. It's what you'd hear, for example, if I were doing a Shakespeare play. It's something I would do like this. And then if you want to go down to London's a lot more nasal, and you go up here, you drop the H's. My brother, my father are coming over. We're going to go have a dinner with Danny. They hit the D's, Danny, for dinner. So that's London. And then Irish, in my business, they always want do you have Lucky Charms here?
Yeah.
That cereal?
Yeah.
In Hollywood, they always want that leprechaun. They're magically delicious, that kind of sound. And if I was to do a real Irish accent, it goes to the back of the throat. It's Irish, I'm from the north. We were a lot of problems up there with wolves. And it's very different than that leprechaun accent. And then, of course, I grew up in New York, so the New York Jew comes very easily. Not a problem. But then you got the New York Italian, who comes like this, Tony Soprano, all that. And a generic Southern accent, very kind of melodious, as if I came from maybe Georgia or Tennessee. It's very melodious. And if y'all want to do a Texan accent, you just put it back in your throat. It's like, are you back here? You don't have to open your mouth very much.
All right. So I'm going to try to speak in the Texan accent. Maybe it's a little bit of
Pull it back.
Oh, pull it back. I don't know.
See the adjustment?
Yeah. So I'm pulling it back right now.
No, don't pull it back.
Pull it back even more like this.
Yeah.
So this is me trying to do the Texan accent. Am I nailing it?
You're doing a not bad Southern American.
Okay,
Not
so
bad.
it's not too bad.
Your problem
My problem.
is that when you speak, you have a very, very slight Middle Eastern accent.
Is that right?
You have a cadence of Middle Eastern. It happens a lot with people, I've found in the States and Canada, even people who were born here, who grew up in your home when you were growing up. What language was spoken?
Oh, we spoke a little bit of Arabic and we spoke a little bit of English.
So there's just a slight flavor. So when you do Southern, I can hear it.
You can still hear it.
I can hear it.
Okay. So
So other than that,
what about when I do it? Can you hear the middle accent like this?
no, that's very good actually. Yeah.
So I want to ask you something more, not philosophical, but more motivational. So,
Okay.
have you had tough times where you thought to yourself, I don't want to do this anymore, but I have to keep going? And what kept you going?
Yes, I've had many of them. What kept me going, as I said earlier, is I'm an artist. I didn't get into this field when I was 17, which is when I started. I didn't get into this to be a star. I didn't get into this for any other reason than I found something by accident that I loved. That when I did it, people, I said it earlier, you put a camera and a mic in front of an actor, they come alive. For me, when I'm acting, that's when I'm most alive. That's when I'm most fulfilled. I am told that painters feel the same way, dancers feel the same way, singers feel the same way. It's a passion, and that's what's driven me. So when I've had desperate times, which have made me say, I can't do this anymore, when I've had bleak times, where there was no work, there was no audition, there was nothing coming on the horizon, I've said, what's wrong with me? Why don't I get out of it? And then I just have to sit down for a moment and say, because this is your passion. And sometimes being an artist sucks. It's hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes
You have up days and down days.
well, more than up and down, it can be really kind of bleak at times when you sit there and think. There was a period of time where for like 3 years I couldn't get a job. I'm going back maybe 10 years ago, 2007 to 10, something like that. And I just would sit in my life and go, what am I going to do? It's been 3 years, I haven't gotten a job. And then I have to remind myself that it's not about a job, it's about my art and my passion.
Okay. And so you physically remind yourself, or do you have someone that you listen to, or do you...
My husband helps with that tremendously. He's a really great balance to me. He'll tell me, like I had a job once that was really hard. I showed up for the first day of a job, filming a very big TV show, which we'll go unmentioned. And it was horrible. It was one of the worst days of my career. And I came home really upset. And
Is this 2007, you said? Between 2007 and 2000?
this would have been, I don't even remember what this would have been. It was
Okay.
back then.
Yeah.
And I came home really upset. And I'm like, oh, this has happened. It was terrible. I don't want to go back. And he sat and listened to me for 5 minutes. He went, that's terrible. Are you done? And I said, yes. He said, shut up. You're going to put on your big boy pants. You're going to go back tomorrow. And you're going to say, I own this. This is what I do. This is my art. No one's going to screw this up for me. Get out of my way. And I went, you're right. And I went back the next day and I claimed my space and I said, this is what I'm doing. And then the rest of the week was great.
Wow.
So he's really good at balancing me like that. And it's very easy. When you're an actor, I think perhaps any kind of artist, it's easy to get lost in it because you have to be incredibly vulnerable at all times. Emotionally vulnerable, emotionally available for actors all the time.
That can be really draining.
It can be draining,
Yeah.
but it also seeps into your real life. So it can be really hard where somebody else might come home from their job and say, I had a bad day with my boss, screw it. It's a little harder for actors to do it because we're like raw nerves. And so even when you go to set and the craft service guy who's making sandwiches is mean to you, you walk away and you're like, I didn't want to kill myself, that was terrible. He didn't put Swiss on my sandwich, it's really bad. Which is really vulnerable. And this just comes with the territory.
Right. So you don't have anyone that you actually look up to? You don't have like role models? You have someone who you're like, I still want to aspire to become like this person?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
Who I know.
Okay.
He is a dear, dear man. I think he's the most gifted actor in the world, and I look up to him completely. I watch his work and think that's magic. That is beyond art. That's magic that he can do what he can do.
And that propels you? That makes you want to become better?
Yeah, I suppose it does. Yeah.
Okay.
And you?
Me what?
Do you have those role models who you look up to and say?
Of course.
What made you go from the place you're working now, or were working, to your own clinic?
I was basically at a stage where I just wanted more. So to me, it was like, well, there's a cap right now in terms of I have to work for someone. And I couldn't imagine myself working for someone for the rest of my life. The reason why I got into dentistry was because of the business aspect of dentistry and the medicine. So I wanted to marry the two. Well, if I'm just working as an employee, then that's not being a businessman.
And do you have a mentor, someone who guides you?
Well, I have a very close friend of mine, another best friend of mine, who basically, I discuss things with him and he gives me some advice and whatnot. But business is just like an acting career. It's a very lonely field, right? You have to struggle by yourself, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And I consider it to be an art, because one day it could go good, one day it could be bad, and just like your husband told you have to own it every single day.
And it drives you.
100%.
Could you see yourself doing something else?
Yeah, I could.
What?
A lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, either a lawyer or just full-on businessman. Yeah. So for me, it was either back. It was either dentistry or law school, and I decided dentistry.
Now, how old were you when you made that decision?
When I was 14 years old, I decided to become a dentist, but law was still in the back of my mind.
14.
At 14. So at 14, I dedicated myself to become a dentist. But as I was progressing, I was like, well, law seems very attractive. But I never pursued it. Yeah, because I just like the atmosphere.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question I think a lot of people want to ask doctors and dentists and don't. Isn't it disgusting putting your hands in people's mouths?
No.
See, it's not?
It's not.
See, that's a real calling for you then. Because I think 99% of us, don't you, would be like, oh, I'm not touching that. You put the before pictures up on your website.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's disgusting.
Why go near that?
Yeah.
I don't care how many gloves I have on.
Well, I mean, you have beautiful teeth.
But but my point is, it's a passion for you. It's a gift.
It's definitely a passion for you. There's hands down. Like I can't deny it. Like I actually I invest a lot of myself to actually make myself a lot better in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have beautiful teeth.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all real.
They're all real.
They're all real.
Everything on my is real. I've got nothing done anywhere.
How are they so straight?
I haven't had Invisalign.
Oh, so you did? Okay.
And I will wear a retainer every other night.
Okay.
My teeth were Invisalign actually. This will make sense to you.
Yes.
My dentist for 3 years was watching and saying, your teeth are closing on the exact same vertical plane.
Yes.
And if we reach a crisis point, you have to do something, because one day you'll close your mouth and all your teeth will shatter.
Okay.
Boom. So one year I went into my regular appointment, he said, you're done. We got to get something. So it was not a matter of my teeth being jacked up. It was the angle.
Yeah.
So the Invisalign actually tilted the lower teeth back ever slightly.
Yeah.
So that was what the Invisalign was for.
What about the front teeth forward? The top front.
I suppose they must have slightly forward.
Yeah. So now your bite's correct. So they're not edge to edge.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. Literally, I could use my front teeth like a scissors.
Oof. Okay.
I could just do that, and a thread would be cut.
Yeah.
And that was dangerous, evidently.
Well, I mean, you're built like an athlete, and athletes have that kind of bite.
Yes,
I was going to say occlusion.
I'm an athlete. Occlusion. I know.
Yes.
I've been like an athlete. Yes, that's right.
6'2", 250 pounds. You go to the gym every day.
Every day.
Athlete.
Yeah, okay. I'll listen. It's the nicest thing anyone ever told me.
So it's true. What's your perception of dentists? Have you always liked going to the dentist?
My perception of dentists?
Yes.
I am one of those crazy people. You could drill my teeth without Novocaine.
Oh.
I am one of those. I have no dental pain.
I had 3 patients who let me do that.
I have no dental pain, which is not a good thing.
Okay.
As you would know.
Yeah.
For example, recently I had 3 years ago I went to my dentist, and they did X-rays, and he said, "We have a problem. You're not in pain?" I said, "Nope." I had a massive under a crown, a massive
abscess.
Thank you. Massive. He showed me pictures of it. It was disgusting, and I had no pain. So I love dentists. I don't mind going to the dentist. You can do a root canal on me. I'm fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're one of the few.
Yes, my dentist thinks it's hilarious.
Okay.
He thinks it's hilarious. Because I could even give myself my injection. I haven't, but I could. If you gave me the needle with Novocaine, I could just be like, yeah, right, boom.
So you have no fear of the needle?
No, oh no. I can draw my own blood.
Yeah, that's fine. But inside the mouth is different.
Yeah, it's mouth, skin, it's all the same to me.
A lot of people that have tattoos are afraid.
Really?
Very afraid of the needle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they have like tattoos all over.
When I had a root canal once, I did have the orthodontist?
No, endodontist.
Endodontist.
Yeah.
Say to me, "You're scaring me a little because you seem to be enjoying this." I was not enjoying it. I just was sitting there going, looking up at the ceiling, and just, it doesn't bother me.
Wow. So you have very high pain threshold?
I have a very high pain threshold.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered going to the military?
No. No. That high I don't have.
So you like dentists?
Yeah, dentist is fine.
And you've been to the dentist ever since you were a kid?
Yeah.
Like regularly?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to you it's kind of weird, but there are a lot of people that haven't.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that haven't gone to the dentist in years.
Why don't they go?
Probably money.
Oh, money.
Money. A fear is a big one.
Say it again. Why don't they go?
Money.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, is that Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh, the Middle Eastern.
The Middle Eastern. Money.
No, if it was the Middle Eastern, I would have said money.
You did.
I didn't say money.
Yeah, you did.
I said.
He'll play it back.
I said money.
Oh, suddenly you're British. I said money. Actually, I didn't say money.
I actually picked up on that. It's really good. No, I can't say money anymore.
You start saying Habibi, Habibi. Then I worry. What does that mean?
Habibi is buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Habibi.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for being on Discover with Sbenati. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Seriously. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to know more about Ray Proscia, this is probably the only place you'll get to know more about him because his life is extremely private. Because he likes it like that, and I
don't know how to use social media.
He doesn't know how to use social media. So, if you want to know more about him, this is it. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay tuned for episode number 6. And this was a great episode with Discover with Sbenati with Ray Proscia.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.